We talk about credit reports a lot, but what are they? Why are they important? And what on earth are you looking for when you pull these complicated documents? Credit reports are so important for your financial health. In fact, the information that they contain can be the difference in every single dollar that you save when it comes to credit cards, loans, and even your cell phone bill. How does this all work? We're talking credit reports today, so stay with me. Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Abby. I'm Abby from Credit and Debt, and we're still talking credit scores in this credit score series, but we have a twist today because we're talking about something bigger and badder than just your credit score. Today we're talking about credit reports. What are they? How do you read them? And what are you looking for when you get these big, long documents? We've got answers for you today. I know you might be thinking, I don't want to know anything about credit reports. That sounds incredibly boring. And I get it. It's not the most exciting part of your financial responsibilities to pull your credit report and dig through them. Today we're going to make it easy, we're going to make it simple, and we're going to make it fast by just giving you some high-level tips on what you should be looking for when you pull those credit reports. So I know it might not be super fun. We're going to try to make it as easy and quick as possible with these simple tips. So let's just start with the basics. If you don't know what a credit report is, it's a record that credit bureaus use to keep record of all your personal information, your credit account history, your credit inquiries, and public records. They get the information from your lenders and creditors and ultimately use it all to calculate your credit score. From there, as you probably know by now, if you've watched any of our shows in the last couple of weeks, your credit score is used to help lenders determine if you're financially responsible enough for a line of credit, whether that's a mortgage, an auto loan, or even a cell phone plan. Let's talk about the next question now that we know what a credit report is. How do you get access to your credit report? That's the easiest part of all of this, which is great news. You can do it right now. It's quick, it's easy, it's free, and you can do it while I'm talking so that we can walk through this together. But you go to annualcreditreport.com and simply click request your free credit report. I'll go ahead and I'll put that link in the comment bar so that you can check it out. It's completely free. Usually you get your credit report for free once a year, but right now, during an economically fragile time with COVID, everything going on, you can access your 3 credit reports for free once a week. So if you've done it before already this year, and so you're like, I can't do it again, you can. You can do it right now. You can do it while we're talking on the phone, and then if you have questions, you can go ahead and ask them while we're live. So, 2 things you might be thinking about. I said you can pull all of your credit reports for free. First thing, I said free. Again, I say it a lot. I know, it really is free. And then the other thing you might be asking there is, did she just say reports, plural reports? Yes, there's more than one you have to look at. It's true. In fact, there are 3 reports, one from each of the 3 credit bureaus, which include Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. But you don't have to freak out. Each of them contain basically the same categories, like identifying information, credit accounts, credit inquiries, and public records. So they're all formatted a little bit differently, but really they all contain the same stuff. So if you get a hold of and walk through one and get accustomed to what's on there, the others will be a breeze. At this point, while I've been talking, you probably could have gone to annualcreditreport.com and pulled all 3 of your credit reports. It's quick and it's easy. So they do ask you for some personal stuff if you're working through that process to get them requested. Right now, they ask you for things like your social security number. Maybe to verify your identity, they ask you for some of your past addresses or maybe an account that you might recognize. So they do ask you for some super personal information, but it's a very reputable site. I've used it before. So now that you have your credit reports pulled, what are you looking for? First, you have to check your personal information. It's somewhere usually up at the top, and it's pretty basic stuff. It's your name, it's your addresses, and here's the thing, it's every name you've ever used and every address you've ever lived at least as long as you've had some sort of credit at the time that you did those things. So for example, if you were married and you changed your name, you'd have on your credit report, you'd likely have some of your maiden names on there, or some of your new married names. Additionally, if you have a nickname, for example, Abby is a nickname. It's short for Abigail. So if you have a couple different names that were ever somehow used, although it's not your legal name, it could still be on your credit report. So check that out. Now, obviously, here's the kicker about this first thing that we're going to make super easy. If you see a name or address on there that you don't recognize, that's your first red flag. We're going to talk more about what to do about red flags in just a minute, so hang tight because that's a major part of your credit report check. But mark that down if you see any names or addresses that you don't recognize. Now, you'll likely have a long or maybe short, it just depends, list of all your accounts in your credit report. So before diving into the details of each account, just shift through quickly and look at the account names. Make sure you recognize all of the account names on your report first and foremost. That way, if you have any names you don't recognize, you can take note of that alongside with the personal information if any of that was incorrect. You might notice though that some of the names are kind of funky, that they might be abbreviated, it might be a parent company of a certain brand, things like that. But just because they're a little bit different and it might not spell out the exact name brand as you recognize it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. So if it looks super funky still though, write it down next to that personal information and any accounts you might not recognize. So ask yourself also, here's the other thing, are any of my accounts not reported here? That does happen. And here's the thing about accounts that aren't reported to credit bureaus. You're not getting credit. So that's huge. If your accounts are in good standing, great accounts can help your credit score immensely. They look great on your credit report. They look great to lenders. So if you have accounts that aren't reported on your credit report, that's a red flag. So write that down. Now, here's the thing though. What kind of accounts should you see? That's actually a really good question, and it can be super confusing. You won't be seeing every account that you make payments on. You'll only see accounts that lenders or creditors are reporting to the bureaus for your payments. So for example, you probably won't see your Netflix account. You might not see your cable bills. Sometimes cable bills, because they might pull your credit to get cable. Sometimes those are reported, but things like Netflix, things like subscription services, those are usually not reported on your credit report. Your credit report is for things like car payments, credit cards, mortgage, rent, things like that. So those are the payments that you're looking for. If you have a credit card that you're actively using and making payments on, or maybe that you've even had in the last 7 years that isn't on that credit report, that's something to take note of. That is a red flag. So after you've looked at all of your accounts, you'll find a key somewhere that will give you more detail on how your account status is being reported. You'll see some colors like green, yellow, orange, some black and white in there too. That's where things get a little bit more detailed. Each of these different colors means something unique for each of your accounts and the way that they're reported. So for example, if each of your accounts is littered with green boxes left and right and the label that says, okay, you are golden, you're in the clear. That means most of the time, that means all of your accounts have been reported on time, you've made your payments on time, it's all good news, right? If you're seeing some other colors like red or orange, those usually indicate some sort of late payment or some sort of red flag. That's not necessarily a red flag for you to take note of, but if you're seeing those late payment flags and you know you've been on time, definitely take note of any late payments that are reported that seem incorrect. So here's the kicker. It's a red flag in some ways for a lender, but not necessarily a red flag for you when you're checking your credit report. If you've missed payments, they'll show on your credit report, but your credit report doesn't show how those payments impacted your score, which can be a huge deal. I did a whole show last week on how late payments affect your score, so if you missed that, you'll definitely want to take a minute and tune in. It's super quick, plus I put that in the comment bar for you so you'll be able to check it out. Not only in that show do we talk about your credit score and how late payments will impact you, but we also give you some insider tips on how to make the minimum, or how to minimize the effects or the impact that a late payment can have on your credit score. So it's definitely one that you don't want to miss out on. If you've ever missed a payment, if you might be in a situation where you have to miss a payment, that's the show you want to watch. One other show, actually, I do want to put in the comment bar for you that I didn't have planned, but I think it's super important. Right now, there are a lot of people that are having trouble making their payments, and it's not an unusual thing. So if you're going through the process of prioritizing your payments and figuring out which payments to make, that's a really hard thing to have to think about. What I did is last Friday I did a special episode on how to prioritize your payments and what to do if you're in a pinch and you can't make all your payments. So we did a show on that on Friday, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that copied for you so that you can get access to that. If you're having trouble making your payments, I think that's super important. All right, that's in the comment bar now. So if you're in a pinch, you can't make all your payments, you're trying to figure out how to prioritize or how to get some of those payments covered, we talk all about it in that show. How to stay in your home, how to keep the lights on, how to keep your car for transportation. These are all questions that people are asking right now, so it's super important. We've got some resources for you in that show. At this point though, we've done a good high-level walkthrough of your credit report. So let's talk about what you do if you find those red flags and you find an inaccuracy. The good news is that you can report these inaccuracies and get them removed from your credit report. What's important here is that if you find inaccuracies on one report, you should look at all three and see if the same inaccuracies are found on those two. That's because the best way to take care of these and the most efficient way is to report the inaccuracy directly to the credit bureau where you found the credit bureau whose report you found the inaccuracy on. Now, if you find some of these inaccuracies or you're still looking at these reports and you don't know what you're looking at or what to do, call our coaches. Not only can they help you pull your reports and understand them, but they can help walk you through those reporting inaccuracies. It's free to call our coaches, and then they'll help connect you to do a full credit report review. And it's great to do if you're finding inaccuracies because here's the thing, credit coaches are experts in this space. They're complicated. Credit reports are complicated. They're complicated for me, and I've broken each one down in detail. So please don't hesitate to call them if you need help and if you find some inaccuracies, because chances are if you found one, there could be others, and they have an eye for it. So if you have questions about your credit reports as we continue this series on credit scores, feel free to ask me whatever questions you have about credit scores, credit reports, or anything related to your finances, credit, or debt. You can message me on Facebook as always, put a comment bar in or put a comment in the comment bar, or you can message me on Facebook directly. You can also email me directly at askabby@creditanddebt.org. I'll reply to your questions right away and help point you in the right direction for either a quick tip, one of my videos. I'll do a brand new video if you have a question that I haven't answered before. I will do a whole video for you on that question. Or if it's a good idea to chat with our coaches, like I said, it's free to chat with them. You can give them a call. I would point you in that direction as well. So that's it for our show today. Make sure you get a reminder for next week's show because we have another special episode. We're doing an interview with the creator of Float, which is an amazing credit score sharing app. So you won't want to miss it. We'll learn all about it. We're going to talk with Max, who is the founder of Float. It'll be awesome. Ultimately, here at Credit and Debt and on Ask Abby, it's our goal to get you the credit you deserve. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week on Ask Abby.